Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to this special video. Being as just about every WWE YouTuber I subscribe to who is actively putting up videos has already done one of theirs, I'm gonna do a draft. Now as you've noticed, I have nobody beside me to help. So what I decided to do was, instead of picking a show and picking a bunch of guys, I figured I'd pick both shows and pick a roster of guys for both that make sense. Not for one show, but for both. For the future, for at least a year. So, how'd I do it? Well, I went on WWE.com, looked up their entire list of superstars, and hopefully you all can see where I'm going with all of my selections. Now, I didn't group tag teams together, so like the New Day, they count as 3 separate picks. The Ascension, 2 separate picks. Shouldn't be that hard to figure out, guys. So, I'm going to make a selection, I might explain why I did, and then I'm going to get to the end. There's only 38 picks, I think. So this video will probably be broken up into 2 parts, being as I can't upload videos longer than 15 minutes on this channel. So, it's a long enough intro, let's get into this. So, for the first round pick for Raw, I picked Seth Rollins. This becomes really apparent because Stephanie is on Raw. She'll be running it. And from my understanding, Triple H will be the general manager of Raw. That's the general thought I've heard. So if he is, you can have your Seth Rollins Triple H match at SummerSlam. Makes complete sense. Also, Seth Rollins is the most complete package. If he isn't picked first, okay, then we should all just stop watching the show because he is the best guy on the roster. Anyway, first pick for SmackDown, Roman Reigns. And I know a lot of people are going to go, oh God. But I don't think they're going to give up on pushing Roman Reigns. There's really no reason to. And if you say, oh, the wellness policy, Randy Orton had 2. So they still slapped the belt on him. I think they're still going to push him. Whether it's as a face or a heel, who knows yet. But I'm just going to pretend he's still a face. Because when I started this, it was before the wellness policy. Just bear with me, guys. So for the second round, for Raw, I have Dean Ambrose. I'm not a fan of the guy, but he is your WWE champion. He will be at the draft. So if he isn't picked in the first 3 rounds, then yeah, that's why I wouldn't have put the fucking belt on him. Regardless, second pick for SmackDown, Bray Wyatt. This is a no-brainer. Because Bray Wyatt is the future of wrestling. Him, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. These are the 4 for this generation. They are, regardless. Maybe we'll have a Big Cass in there. Maybe we'll have Kevin Owens. But if I was running any show, these 4 guys, if I had 4 uninterrupted picks, they would be these 4 guys. So it makes sense. So for the third pick for Raw, I have Randy Orton. And you guys are probably going, Randy Orton, really? Well, there's a few reasons. For one, Randy Orton is a really good guy who can go face or heel. Really over right now. Will sell merch if you give him merch. Just kind of makes sense. I have a lot more young guys on Raw. So with Orton on Raw, you can kind of put some of them over. Have a decent set of feuds. It's doable. But also on SmackDown, and this is also the third round, I have John Cena on SmackDown. So, I know I'm going to get flack. People are saying Cena and Reigns on the same show. And here's my response. Well, we can't have Cena, Reigns, and Orton on the same show. That's what we're avoiding. You can still have Cena and Reigns on the same show, just not bumping heads. Trust me, I would rather them be on different shows, but Reigns has to be on SmackDown now. So if Reigns is on SmackDown and Cena can't be on Raw, it just makes sense. I don't want to see Cena on Raw anymore. With Cena on SmackDown, you can build towards a feud, Cena and Reigns. Bam. If you're turning him heel, that works. You could always go back to the well of Cena Wyatt. But it's an option. So round 4 begins, and I'm picking Rusev for Raw. Rusev, really impressive guy. Really like Rusev. He is also a really good heel. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, but managers will be going with the superstar they manage. So Rusev will come with Lana. And I think that only makes sense. She's not an active competitor. I didn't put part-timers on this list. Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, they're in a show. So that's where I have Rusev going. I have him going to Raw. You can have him feud with Dean Ambrose. You can have him feud with Randy Orton. There are feuds there. That's why I did it. Then I have The Miz going to SmackDown. And I know you guys don't like The Miz. Go suck a dick. But I need to calm down, don't I? But I have The Miz going to SmackDown for a few reasons. For one, okay, The Miz gets heel heat, just like Rusev does. So you realistically need one of them on each show. The Miz is also your current IC champ. So putting him on SmackDown means SmackDown has a belt. But I'm putting The Miz on SmackDown. He has feuds he can go to. He can be relevant there. He'll be off TV for a little bit if you only watch Raw. So you won't be as tired of him as you are now. So for the 5th round, first pick, I have AJ Styles for Raw. Yeah, there are a lot of guys that I wanted to get in the first 5 rounds. It was really hard to do. But AJ Styles, I have the t-shirt. AJ Styles, he is the phenomenal one for a reason. And I really think you need him on Raw. Don't know why, but I don't want him on SmackDown. But there's also one key reason why AJ is on Raw. And that is to end the AJ Cena feud. So, you guys are all going to get mad. But I have the Big Show, 5th pick for SmackDown. And Big Show is in a very unique spot. Because I didn't want to draft him at all. I don't like the Big Show. I'm tired of the Big Slow. Don't want him on my show. But he can be face or heel. He can. Guys like The Miz and Cena have only been proven to work on one side of the coin. But the Big Show can work on either. So I like what the Big Show can offer. If you want Reigns to get over as a face, you can feud him with a heel Big Show. If you want him to get over as a heel, you can have him feud with a face Big Show. Not saying that's what I would do, but it's an option. The Big Show. Okay, moving on. 6th pick for Raw, and at this point, I stopped picking them in order. I kind of just started picking people. So the 6th and 7th pick finish out the club. So it's Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson for Raw. So that way the club is together still, because there's no reason to break them up. They just got together. Self-explanatory. The 6th and 7th pick for SmackDown, Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman. I figure you kind of got to keep them together. So in my scenario in my head, I pictured Raw picking first and then SmackDown. So I picked Kevin Owens to go to Raw. Kevin Owens is a really talented guy. Really like the guy. Kinda should just go to Raw. He doesn't seem like a SmackDown talent to me. He can get more exposure this way. He's already over enough. And you figure if you have Dean Ambrose as the champion, you can have Kevin Owens come up and say, hell, I beat you just this year. And Kevin Owens is immediately a main eventer because Dean Ambrose is champ. But then what I picture happening is SmackDown gets a pick and Shane, in his infinite wisdom, picks Charlotte. You're probably wondering, why? Well, because she's the women's champ. And she will be going into the draft. Whether she will be, after Battleground, I don't think she will. But she will be the champ heading into the draft. So then, in my head, I'm picturing Raw countering back with Sasha Banks because she's the most over woman on the roster. We all know that's true. Then we have Dana Brooke being picked from SmackDown. And I kind of picture the show having a little bit of weird politicking going on, so to speak. So I can see Charlotte going, you have to pick Dana Brooke next. Plus, it's not really in order at this point. Kind of, sort of, but not really. So then Raw picks Natalya to get a heel diva. You've just established Natalya as a heel. Might as well make use of her. Then I have SmackDown picking Paige. Raw picking Naomi. SmackDown picking Nikki. Raw picking Cesaro. Okay, so the women's division, I don't care about it. I don't. And I'm sorry if that offends people, but I'm not going to dream book the women's division in a 15-minute video. I'm sorry, it's not happening. So I have Cesaro going to Raw. And if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking at the computer because the computer has the list up. But Cesaro goes to Raw. And Cesaro is a guy who I don't really like. I don't dislike him, but there are moments where his style looks really fake. And whatever, people like him, and that's why I'm doing this. Because Cesaro would be a great foil for just about anybody. Okay? So if you actually build him up, he is an opponent for Brock Lesnar. He is. If you're going to have him, if you're trying to build him, you can have him feud with Randy Orton. You can have him feud with Seth Rollins. You can have him feud with a face, Dean Ambrose. You have choices. Cesaro is good for that. As a babyface, he doesn't have to talk. So then I have Tyson Kidd going to SmackDown. And again, this is why I say it's not in order. I have Tyson Kidd going to SmackDown because both of these guys work better as faces. And there's just no way around that. So if you have to have them break up, which you'd have to do at some point, why not have them break up in the cleanest way possible? Neither guy turns. Why not? And then if you need to, you can bring one of them to the other show and have them reform as a tag team next year. So say Cesaro's single push doesn't work. Well, you still have that tag team with Tyson Kidd. So next year at the draft, you can draft Tyson Kidd to Raw or Cesaro to SmackDown. Okay, for 14, I have... I'm sorry, it's 13. Zack Ryder to Raw. They've been giving him TV time lately. So, why not? I also have Sami Zayn going to SmackDown. And the real reasoning I have them both in these spots is because they both kind of represent the same person. They're both, lovable loser baby faces who are really over with the crowd. So, why have them both on the same show? Just like how I had The Miz and Rusev in the same round, I have Zack Ryder and Sami Zayn in the same round. And again, the reasoning behind this is so that way you have Sami Zayn over here, Kevin Owens over here, and this feud. And even if you continue it, okay, you can leave it unfinished until like Survivor Series. You could theoretically have the feud end and have it Survivor Series them on opposite teams in a Raw versus SmackDown match. Dream booking. It's not that hard. Okay, I have Titus O'Neil going to Raw, Apollo Crews going to SmackDown. At this point in the draft, we have a lot of really young guys on Raw. So I figured we'd put Titus O'Neil on Raw, and put Apollo Crews on SmackDown. And this works really well because there are foils for Apollo Crews on SmackDown. So, why not? Again, this is why I picked The Miz so high up. The Miz is a good feud partner with anybody, or any face. Whether it be Sami Zayn, John Cena, Roman Reigns, or in this situation, Apollo Crews. So, for round 15, I have Connor going to Raw, Victor going to SmackDown. Again, you're probably looking at me like, what? The WWE has given up on Ascension. They're just done, okay? So why not just break the team up? Neither of them are really going to work as faces because you've buried them. So just split the tag team up. We don't really need that tag team. Put a Raw jobber, SmackDown jobber. Problem solved. Ascension is over. Good job, WWE. For 16, I have Baron Corbin going to Raw and Dolph Ziggler going to SmackDown. But Baron Corbin is a young guy, and he'll be a good heel because the hardcore fans don't like him as is. So put him on Raw. He'll be kind of like the opposite to The Miz, to where you have one on Raw, one on SmackDown. Just makes sense. Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown makes sense because you have the IC belt over there maybe. You have all these guys who are kind of good workers who, why not, who cares? Who cares? I'm moving on. Then I have Mark Henry going to Raw and Chris Jericho going to SmackDown. And I know with Chris Jericho, he might not be there very much, but he is a very natural heel, which at this point in the draft, we don't have that many of on SmackDown. Mark Henry, I have as a babyface on Raw. He could be a heel, just pushing him out of the way. I knew I didn't care where he went, really. That's why I picked him here. Then I have ADR going to Raw, Sheamus going to SmackDown. Again, they're both the same guy. They are. Okay? It's like the fourth time I've done this, but they're the same guy.